we have received a letter of intent from at this point. So we're just going to go into questions and answers here right now. First of all, turn all your cell phones off if you haven't done so already. Raise your hand. We'll get the mic to you. And probably helpful if you would identify yourself and your affiliate here as Coach Taggart gets to become familiar with everyone. So.
Thank you. Gotta be sharp, baby. Gotta be sharp.
At this point, we'll go first. Aaron.
You had to hit the ground running coming in December 7th, 2 months later. Time to exhale maybe today. How do you feel about what you're able to accomplish in just 2 months in terms of putting this staff together and this recruiting class?
There's no exhaling, but I feel good. You know, I feel like everything that we wanted to get accomplished, we was able to do it. You know, we got the guys that we wanted, and you always try to hold on to the guys that you have. And we didn't have any signing day things go the opposite way. Everything that we wanted and we thought would happen happened for us, and that's always good, you know. And getting the staff here, really excited about those guys. They hit the ground running, and it's kind of like iron sharpen iron. Our guys are out there competing against each other and helping each other when it comes to recruits. But we feel really good about our class, every single one of them, and think we're headed in the right direction.
Go to Kristen, third row in the middle.
Kristen Rogers from
Hi, Kristen.
KEZI here in KEZI here in Eugene. What pieces were you specifically looking to fill into this class?
Every piece that we can, you know. I mean, I think if you look at it, I mean, for us, watching our football team, we felt like every position, there was a need at every position, you know. And like I told our football team, we're going to go and recruit guys to come take your jobs, you know, and it was going to be on you to keep your job. So we tried to fill every position. Like I said, I thought we did a good job at doing that for the most part, and feel good about the guys that we added.
Coach Taggart, to your left.
Matt Preem, 24/7 Sports. You hit Florida hard, you hit California hard, and then you have a lot of Polynesians committed to this class. Is that kind of the formula moving forward for you of continuing Florida, keeping your pipeline with California, and going with the Polynesian connection?
Yeah, we're gonna try to do our best to take care of Oregon first, you know, and try not to lose any kids in state to anyone outside of here. We want to take care of Oregon. We're gonna do a really good job in California. We're gonna recruit the Northwest, and we're gonna use our ties and our relationships that we do have in Florida, you know. But I think you'll see us get in Texas. You'll see us being all over the country. I think the Oregon brand is a national brand, and we're able to go nationally to recruit kids, you know. So, and I think we have to, because we don't have the recruiting base that most teams have. So we got to be able to go out and outwork people and find people to get them to come here. We can't expect for them just to come here. But the one thing we've seen while we're out there, there's a lot of kids out there that really, really loves Oregon and really want to be a part of this.
Lindsay Schnell, Sports Illustrated. Willie, I know that you can't talk about kids that haven't signed yet, but do you guys have every letter in that you're expecting? Are you waiting on anyone else? Do you think you might get any good surprises?
We could. You never know. You never know.
Can you give us you're waiting to see what happens with like 5 kids? Can you give us any sort of, I'm just curious if there's a number.
We can say 5. I know. I will love it. But there's some guys out there that hadn't signed a national letter of intent yet, and but we're competing. We're competing with some of them, and again, we hope it goes the way we want it. But if it don't, we're fine with what we have. Like I said, we got the ones that we wanted and knew we were going to get, you know. And if we can add some guys to that we really like, that would be great as well.
And down the right.
Chantel Jennings, ESPN. One of the perceived challenges with Oregon is that, as you said, it's not a super talent-rich area. You've got to go out and convince guys who are 1,500, 2,000 miles away to sometimes come here. Was that as much of a challenge as you thought it would be, or less of a hurdle?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't much of a challenge. You know, I think being out at Stanford and seeing what we had to do out there, is very similar, and you again, you just got to go out. I mean, over this entire country, there's enough football players in this country to come here. And there's a lot of guys that want to be here, So, but again, they're not just going to come. You got to go out and get them and outwork. And our staff did a good job of doing that. We're all over the country trying to get kids. And I think a big part of it is building relationships, and the kids that we liked and we didn't necessarily get in, it wasn't because they didn't like Oregon. It was more because of relationship. They had a better relationship with other people and spent more time with them. And unfortunately, we got here a little late and tried to build those relationships, but it's hard to do that within a month or not even a month with the staff, We finally got the staff together. So I think going forward, it'll be a little easier because we have time to build those relationships. And I think that's what it all comes down to when it comes to recruiting, is building a relationship and getting to know the young men and their families and them understanding what you're trying to do in your vision as well.
Hey, Coach, Sky Muller, KVAL TV here in Eugene. We've seen you and your staff very active on Twitter, but also some of those early enrollees have been very active. How big is it when you have some of those guys that are part of this class that committed early out kind of helping you guys do some recruiting?
Well, I think those guys just want to make sure they have a good class coming in. Those guys are committed to the University of Oregon, and they want to make sure that they're not the only ones that's here. And they want other guys coming. And I think that's when you really end up getting good classes. When those guys start to talk to each other and get to know each other, it becomes stronger, and guys really want to be a part of that. And I think that was a big part of it. They want to change as well, and they want to win, and they know they can't do it by themselves.
Aaron Fincher, CSN. You have 7 guys from Florida. Is this going to be a norm? Are you going to try and always tap in there? You have 3 coaches on your staff, including you, who are head coaches in that state. Is this going to be normal?
We're going to try to get the best players around the country, whether it's Florida, Georgia, Ohio, Virginia, New York, North Dakota, wherever they're at, Samoa. Well, we have relationships there, so we're going to always go there. That's just the right thing to do, and a lot of those commits we already had those relationships with those young men, but I think it'll be very wise for us to continue to recruit where we have relationship and we know folks, and then continue to build relationship in other areas as well. But we're going to always recruit the state of Florida, and each year I'm pretty positive we'll be able to get some kids out of there. Again, there's a lot of kids down there that really, really like Oregon. They just were never offered by them before. And they have a head coach and some other coaches that have ties down there, so more kids down there get offered. Now, we won't get them all, but we'll get them, and we're going to try to get the best ones. We're not going to settle.
Throughout this entire recruiting process, we saw a lot on social media. Obviously, that's something we haven't seen with the staffs in the past for recruiting periods. I know you were brought on to change the culture, and it really seems like recruiting has a big area there. Can you explain your recruiting philosophy?
We want the very best kid out there, and we got to find the very best way of going about getting them, and recruiting has changed a lot, and social media is a big part of it. And you talk with these young people, it's not just telephone calls anymore. It's you got to get to them on social media, so that's a big part of it. And not just the kids, but your fan base as well, and giving them some insight of what's going on. I know that always help as well. And again, being down in the South and in the SEC country, you see how they do a lot of things. And but social media is huge, and we got to use it. If you don't, you're going to be behind. We can't be behind. We just can't. And we got to find every advantage we can to stay up on it. Recruiting change all the time, and I always say recruiting is like brushing your teeth and combing your hair. As soon as you stop, you start to look bad. So we got to make sure we're doing that.
On the right, Ryan. Ryan Thorburn with the Register Guard. Really, it looks like you signed some big defensive linemen. Do you anticipate them having an immediate impact? And with Jim Levitt, what kind of base scheme do you think he'll run? Will he run a 3-4, 4-3?
He'll run a 3-4. And with the linemen, they're going to have every opportunity every opportunity to go out and compete and try to take somebody's job. You know, I told our players that's what we're going to do is recruit guys to take their jobs, and it's on them to keep their jobs. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to be highly competitive, and we don't talk about redshirting. I think nowadays kids are so much more advanced than what they used to be coming out of high school, and we don't want to sell those young men short and say, hey, you come here to redshirt. We're going to let them come and compete, and if they show us that they're ready to play, we're going to let them play. And if they show us that they need to be redshirted, then we'll do that. But we definitely going to give them an opportunity to come and play.
Right next to Austin.
Hey, Willie. Austin Meek with the Register Guard. You had to address some issues with your staff in the first couple months on the job. Did that come up at all on the recruiting trail? And what'd you tell players or their parents who might have had questions about that?
It came up, and we told them the truth. You know, we had nothing to hide. You know, the weight room issue, we felt that was bogus. You know, it was told the wrong way, and we explained to them exactly what happened. You know, and I think the young people that we're recruiting know who we were and know what we're about, and they knew we weren't out trying to kill anybody. We weren't doing anything malicious. And if you got the true story, I think everyone would have knew that we weren't trying to do that. But it's sad that it was reported the way it was. And but in the long run, I think it helped us, you know, because, again, the parents saw that we were truthful and we didn't have anything to hide. And then the other issue, we addressed that and we moved forward. You know, I think anytime something bad happens, there's three things that can happen. You can either let it define you, you can let it destroy you, or you can let it encourage you to move forward and get better. And we chose to do the latter, and it really helped us.
Right here, AJ.
AJ Jacobson with Rivals.com. Coach, what messages would you say resonated most this season in the living rooms that you were just visiting the last several weeks?
That's tough. There's a lot of messages out there, but I think more just getting the swagger back in Oregon, you know, getting it back to where it belongs. And again, I think everyone realized not too long ago Oregon was playing a national championship game, and everyone know what the possibilities are here, you know. But it's going to take a lot of work, you know, and it's going to take a commitment by everyone in the program to get back there. And it always takes good football players, so we got to make sure we're doing that.
Right here, Jerry.
Hi, Coach Taggart. Jerry Thompson, Mighty Oregon Magazine. Could you comment on this, the idea that it looks like most of the verbals you had with the previous coaching staff had stayed, most of them. Plus you got Royce and Darren to come back.
Big one.
And then it looks like you flipped a few players. We won't name the school, but could you just tell you how satisfying some of that was for you?
Very satisfying. I think in each one of those situations, there were kids that wanted to be here. You know, I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I guess you call it flip, but those young men that wanted to be here, you know, and even the guys that stayed here, it tells you a lot. They always was committed to the University of Oregon, and a lot of them wanted to see who the new coach was and what the new coach vision was. And once they figured out all those things, they wanted to be here and be a part of what we're going to try to build here. You know, so, but very excited how it all happened, and really excited about our guys coming back and want to be a part of this as well, you know. But I think in all those situations, you see a lot of young people that really want to be at the University of Oregon, and that's always good.
Back middle,
Mike.
Mike Scout, KZI. I spoke with Sheldon lineman Cody Shear earlier this morning. He was explaining that he got the phone call really early at 5:45 this morning. How much movement did you see with this recruiting class in the late hours, like the last probably week or so or last few days? And what is this whole recruiting season been like, given you just get to Eugene, you got to put your staff together and this class together?
Really, recruiting don't start until the day before signing day. That's when it really starts. All kinds of things happen the day before signing day. So that was always tough. Cody's good young man. You talking about a young man that really, really wanted to be here. I mean, he was like my little girlfriend calling me all the time. He really wanted to be here. And that's great when you get young people like that show how much, he talked about this being his dream school and how he grew up wanting to be a Duck, and he was passionate about it. This whole recruiting season was interesting, but it was fun. You knew it was going to be tough. You knew it was going to be hard to try to get convince kids to come here because you started late, but you also knew what the O stands for and what it can do for you. So you knew if you just went out and applied some hard work and with it, you can get some kids to come here. So I think at first it was tough because I was by myself, and that's really tough. But once we got some coaches in here and got on the road, it became a little easier, and it was actually became it was fun because we have a great group of coaches that loves to recruit, loves to go out and meet young people and build relationships, and got some coaches that love to compete. They always say iron sharpen iron, and I think our guys made each other better and made each other want to go out and work harder. We're going to be highly competitive around here at everything we do, and our coaches understand that as well. Even when it comes to recruiting, we need the best.
Right here, Ryan, in the middle.
Ryan Costeca, Emerald Media. Coach mentioned earlier that Oregon is a national brand. Can you explain what it's like when you walk into now high schools and family houses representing Oregon compared to where you represented in the past?
Feel like the man when I walk through. You go in, you get attention, instantly. When they see it. I think even before you come up, they see the colors. It stands out. It's great. All these kids. Again, a lot of these kids when they were 5, 6, 7 years old is when Oregon really started to blossom, and you see the different uniforms. It was very innovative, and the fast offense. Oregon was the thing to be, and a lot of these kids saw that when they were growing up, and that's where they wanted to be, and now they're at the stage where they have to choose where they want to go to school, and so that makes it easier for us. At least to get in there and get in the door, and then it becomes hard work. You just got to build those relationships, and that takes time. But it helps to have the O on when you walk in there, and it helps when those kids tell you, Oregon's been my dream school. That makes it a lot easier.
Lindsay, on the right.
To piggyback off that question, Willie, everyone knows about these awesome facilities. Do you even spend that much time talking about it, or do you try to play up things, relationships, or anything else because the facilities have been all over TV already?
You show it when you come here. We're going to talk about it because this place is unbelievable. You'll be a fool not to talk about it. But that's not what's going to get a kid by itself. Again, it comes with those relationships, and especially when the kid comes from a long ways. Their parents want to know that they're going to be in a place where somebody's going to look out for them and take care of them. So you try to build those relationships, share your vision and what you're all about, and hope that you can land one of those kids. But it's a lot more than just the facilities, and I told our staff from day one, we can't just lean on the facility and think that we're going to get guys here. We got to go work, and we got to go get them and bring them here. We can get them and bring them here, then the rest is history.
On the left here, Matt.
You said that a lot of your staff and yourself have spent time at Florida. You went in by yourself and got Thomas Graham very early in the process to not only commit, but to enroll early. Do you feel like that had any weight with giving you some credibility out on the West Coast, a place you haven't been for a while with other guys?
I like to think so, but again, Oregon was a school Thomas was always interested in, and he wanted to know who the new coach was, and he wanted to know what the vision was, and I went in and spent time with him and his parents and told him what I was all about and what we wanted to do, and it was something that they wanted to be a part of, and I think that's with a lot of these young people. Again, they're really excited about Oregon. They need someone to explain to them a little more about Oregon, but more importantly, explain our vision and what we want, where we want to take this program, and again, building those relationships. They want to be around a good person, a good dude, someone that's going to look out for them. A lot of these kids come from good families, and they leave home. They want to be in that family environment, but more importantly, parents want to know that they're going to be somewhere where a coach is going to help them grow, not just as a football player, but as a man.
Aaron in the middle.
My apologies, but guys being listed as athletes drives me nuts. Can you? It messes up my prognostication for future depth charts. Can you run through sort of what these guys might play, or do you know? Or is it up in the air?
They're athletes. Those guys can play a lot of different positions.
So it's really that much up in the air?
It is. They can play. Some of them will play both ways. You know, some of them talented enough to do those things. So they can play a lot of different positions. Some of them, like I say, they will play a lot of different positions, and they're just that talented where they can do a lot of different things. And we get them here, we're going to see where they best fit.
Hey, Coach. Hayden Herrera, NBC16 here in Eugene. You mentioned talking about Cody. How important was it to get a Eugene kid in this signing class? And we've seen you around visiting local high schools, pictures on social media. What have you learned so far about, just high school football here in Oregon?
There's some good football, and there's some good players here. But like I said earlier, we got to keep our good players here and not let them get outside and go to other schools, especially schools in this conference. So we got to do a good job of recruiting and evaluating the young men that's here in the state of Oregon and try to get on them as early as possible. I said from day one we're going to recruit the state of Oregon, and I didn't want that just to be talk. We had to show that with action, and I thought we did that as a staff by getting out and meeting some of the coaches. I didn't know any of the coaches, and as a head coach, you don't get to go out much, so I wanted to use this part to be able to get out and meet them, and they get to meet me and know what I'm all about and welcome them to our program anytime. Again, it goes back to those relationships, and those relationships aren't going to just happen off of one meeting. It's going to take time, but we're going to put in the time to make sure we build those relationships, and we're going to put in the work to try to make sure that we keep those young men here.
On the right, Ryan.
Willie, you mentioned that a lot of these guys come prepared to play at this level. It sounds like Braxton Burmeister might be one of those guys who's had a great high school career, been groomed a little bit by Achilles Smith. How would you describe his skill set, and what are you looking for him this spring?
He's very talented. He's a young man that can do a lot of things. He can throw the football, which you have to do as a quarterback, but he also can run with the football. And when you're able to do those things, you bring a little more to the table, and you put a little more pressure on the defense. And Braxton's one of those guys that can do a lot of those things for us. I know for me personally, when you're looking at a quarterback, not only looking at his leadership and competitiveness and his smarts and being able to throw the ball, but I always look for a guy that can get me at least 2 first downs with his feet. If he can do that, I like those kind of guys. But I think Braxton can give you a lot more with his feet. But he's very talented, and he can do a lot of different things.
Willie, you kind of alluded to this, but did you feel like you came across a lot of guys who were interested in Oregon, wanted to come to Oregon, wanted an Oregon offer, and maybe for whatever reason just hadn't connected with the school? And do you feel like maybe there's an opportunity now to make sure those guys don't fall through the cracks?
Absolutely. I saw that a lot of places, not just here, but everywhere we went. It was that way. And it's just different philosophy when it comes to recruiting. And but it was good to know that so many young men out there are really excited about the University of Oregon, and not just on the West Coast, also on the East Coast as well. And it's going to take that. We're going to have to, again, go over the entire country to get really good football players here. And it's good to know that you can be able to do that. You don't have to assume that you can't do it. You just got to go out and work and get it done. But you got to build those relationships. It's not going to happen if you don't build those relationships.
On the right, Lindsay again.
Oh, Willie, going back to Austin's earlier question about you guys had, a bad week of PR. Mm-hmm. Did you reach out to any of your coaching mentors to ask maybe how to deal with that so close to signing day?
I always have a certain group of guys I talk to, and it wasn't necessarily how to deal with the situation. It was just vetting it out and talking. And again, I think the best way is to be open and honest, because there was nothing malicious we were trying to do here, and not a million years I thought we would have started off that way, but when, like I said earlier, when things happen, you can deal with it a certain way. We took the way of being positive and continue to push forward, because there's nothing malicious. Those things happen. They happen all over the country. You see that all over the country, and you try to learn from those things and make sure that those things don't happen anymore. But we weren't going to walk away from it. We weren't going to try to hide anything. Again, we're just going to be open and honest and and deal with it. And that's what we did. We dealt with it, and I wouldn't necessarily say it was all bad, because I do think it helped us in the long run. I mean, there was negative recruiting all over, and I think that turned a lot of kids off. The negative recruiting actually helped us, and it helped us by being honest and not hiding anything and addressing it, or not letting someone else go to them and try to dictate the story. A lot of them, we reached out to and told them, here, this is what it is. This is where we're at. This is what happened. And I think a lot of the parents appreciated that more than anything. And a lot of them was with us from day one. A lot of them didn't believe it, and that helped, but you say that was kind of how we dealt with it. It is what it is, and you move forward. You move forward, and you keep working, and you keep a positive attitude, and you just keep going, and that's the attitude we took.
A bit of a simplistic question, but how would you describe this recruiting class in one word?
Good.
Sky on the left.
Potential to be great, though.
Absolutely, always. We always chasing greatness.
You
Always
mentioned
chasing.
negative recruiting out there, and obviously one down year for Oregon after a couple years removed from a national championship. You mentioned these kids grew up with Oregon being the national brand. Do you have to go into living rooms and dispel rumors that other programs have maybe tried to tell these kids that Oregon is down?
No, you just tell the truth. And I tell our staff the same thing. We're not going to worry about anyone else, what anyone else is doing, because we don't know them or know what they're doing. We just got to sell Oregon and what Oregon is all about, and sell our vision. And that helped us more than anything. If they talked about some of those things, we showed them exactly where we were. Again, we wasn't hiding anything. And what I find funny is it's hard. It's interesting for other people to talk about your program when they're not here. That's pretty interesting. And I think those kids started to realize that. I mean, back in the days, negative recruiting really it helped you. I don't think it helps you anymore. I think it hurts you. And I think it hurt a lot of people that tried to negative recruit us, because it turned a lot of kids off that I talked to about it. And it was funny, because not one time we said anything negative or we talked about any program. We always tell the kids, if they got more offers, hey, you got a lot of opportunities, and that's good for you, but all we can talk about is the University of Oregon and what we have and what we have to sell and where we're going. And hopefully that's something you want to be a part of. And that helped us tremendously.
We got time for two more. Aaron?
That's it.
Oh,
That's great.
what Willie says.
Do you have an
Update for us on the you have assistant coaching job that I believe is going to be open if David Reeves is indeed let go. Is there an update on hiring and replacement? Or
Not yet, but I will have something soon, but not yet.
Okay.
Ryan here on the right?
Mario Cristobal is known as an elite recruiter. Did you witness that firsthand on the trail? Did he have a big impact?
Well, I know Mario for a while now, and people talk about him recruiting. He's a good football coach. He's a good person, and he's great with building relationships. He's good with people. And I think whenever you have those qualities, you can do a good job recruiting. And he's passionate about it. And I think the most important thing is he really wanted to be here. And when you really want to be somewhere, you do a better job with whatever it is you're trying to do. So when I knew that he really wanted to be here, I knew he's going to do a great job being here as a coach. And again, he wasn't here long, so he had kind of hit the ground running. He's done a great job since he's been here.
Thanks, Coach.
That was one.
That was, he asked. That's the back question.
Okay. I'll get one more.
Moderator adjourned.
Can we get two more? Two more.
Coach, do you have like a batting average kind of how you did? You got targets and you kind of like, this is who we're looking at and this is how we followed through. I mean, did you get most of the guys that you thought you would get? Could you rate how that batting average was? And you're looking at other schools, I'm sure. How do you think you rated with the rest of the Pac-12, if you can kind of give us an idea?
I like the guys we have. I like the guys we went after. Those guys that we wanted, and we got them. There's some other guys that we wanted, and we'd have loved to have, but we knew it was gonna be tough because again those relationships. But we're in it. Whenever you're in it, then you go to the end with it. But really excited about the guys we have. We feel like the young men that we have in this class is good for the University of Oregon, and anything else really doesn't matter.
Rick Morgan, DuckNews.com. You've got 3 kids that are currently enrolled in January. Are any of the new signees expected to enroll in spring? And if
Yes.
you could talk a little bit about what is your philosophy about early enrollment? How do you engage that conversation with the athlete and with their parents?
We have 3 other guys who'll be here in March. Darren McNeil, Braxton Burtmeister, and Rutgers. Rutmeyer, he'll be here in March. And my philosophy on it, if a kid wants to, and if he's done his work in high school, and we want him to be here, then we'll bring him in here, But we don't go in and ask a kid to graduate early or anything like that. We leave that up to them and their parents on if that's something that they want to do. You all have a great day if you want to, because I am. I give it to you.
It looks like Jim Levitt played a lot of laser tag during the recruiting cycle. Have you played with him yet?
Oh, I was in it, yeah, and I am. What do you mean? He lost his voice in there. I don't know if you all talked to him yet or anything, but he lost his voice. But yeah, he was screaming. He gets in it now. Jim get all on the ground. I think he really into it. He's laying on the ground. He's sneaking up around the corner on you. I hate being on the team because he shoots you too. Like, come on, we're on the same team, buddy. But it was fun. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.